Hey, good morning. Welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith. I forgot to put my mic on. I shot one yesterday. I'll do that right there. I shot one yesterday. I think I might have told you all this. Got done and realized that the mic hadn't been plugged in all the way, and so I had to do it all over again. I know. My technology group needs to be tightened up a little bit, but we'll get it figured out. How are you all today? We have a lot to cover. I'm going to do the top story first today. I hope you all are doing well, by the way. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Like I have said before, every time I get up in the morning and I check all the things that I need to check, I see that we have gotten new subscribers on YouTube, and new members over on Patreon. And we love to have you in both places. If you're not with us on Patreon, we welcome you. We invite you if you would like. I just put a couple of cool things over there this morning that those who are members over there like to see, and that's everything that I do here, plus a lot of other stuff that I come upon. I actually forget what I put over there, but I know that it was worth putting over there, so you all will probably enjoy it. The links for that's down there, as are the links to my books for anybody who's interested in that. The lead thing today, and you all have probably heard that Sarah Palin, and you heard if you listened to me the other day, Sarah Palin is running for representative up in Alaska. Good to have her back. You know, as I've said before, the ladies are really taking it to them. They are setting the bar for some of these other people. About the only one that I hear making any noise from the other gender is it gender or sex? I can't keep up with it. Is Matt Gaetz, whatever his name is, on that side, and Rand Paul in the Senate. So the ladies are really carrying the load on this, fellas, and you better take a look and start getting in the game yourself. So we've got some real firebrands over there on the women's side. On us, they're so much smarter than the other side, and so much more attractive. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that conservative women are just so much more attractive than their sisters from another political persuasion? Yes, they are. You know why? I think that's because they're not bitter. I think they're not bitter because they have better lives. They have better relationships. They have higher self-esteem. They realize that that their future and their lives are in their own hands. Not waiting on somebody else to give it to them, and or to waiting for somebody else to be punished for having done more. But they are you can see it in their eyes. They're more attractive, they're stronger, they are more intelligent, and really, put up Sarah Palin against Nancy Pelosi, please, right? Well, she has invited somebody else to put up against her. I'm going to read that here in a minute. Anyway, welcome to Sarah Palin. I'm 100% behind her. I think about the only stupid thing she ever did was to run with that moron McCain. But, she can't be blamed for that. It was a historical moment. And what was she supposed to say? What are you supposed to say, when somebody asks you to run as their vice president? She had high hopes. And what he never understood, nor does his daughter, is that hardly anybody voted for him. Everybody voted for her. I wouldn't have voted for him if she hadn't been on the ticket. I wasn't voting for him. I was voting for her because she's a bulldog. She's a hockey mom, just like Mrs. Snerdley. Those hockey moms, once they get their teeth in something, they don't let go. So anyway, I'll read this here. This is from, what's this from? Newsmax. Former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin said she would beg Representative Alejandra Ocasio-Cortez, I don't say her name that often, trust me, Democrat of New York, to debate her, and would be very polite if passing her in the halls of the Capitol. Well, of course, because people on the conservative side tend to be polite. That's because they know how to behave. If you get some bad behavior, we all know where it's coming from, right? Palin, the 2008 GOP vice presidential candidate, now is running for Congress. We knew that. I would be very polite passing her in the halls of Congress, Palin said in a televised interview, and I would beg her to debate me. Oh, I do too. Alejandra, I beg you, debate Sarah Palin. Right? Aren't we all out there? Everybody's going, yeah, that'd be something to watch. And I would beg her to debate me. She says, please, AOC, on education, on capitalism, she doesn't know what that is, on how to run a business, on our nation's security. Can't you just see Cortez's head just going, what does that mean? How to run a business? She knows how to run a business into the ground using government. And on what it takes to be energy independent again in order to be solvent and sovereign. Let me read that. I'll read that one more time without me interjecting. And I would beg her to debate me, please, AOC, on education, on capitalism, on how to run a business, on our nation's security, on what it takes to be energy independent again in order to be solvent and sovereign. Oh gosh, I want to debate her. Don't you miss those goshes? Oh golly, oh gosh. Yeah, tough woman with such, all-American. Gosh. Palin, who served 3 years as governor of Alaska, resigned in 2008. We know that after Senator John McCain asked her to run as his vice presidential candidate against then-President Barack Obama and Vice President Joe, what is that name? Biden. That's it. After more than a decade out of the public eye, Palin announced April 1st that she was running for Congress. I know a lot of people thought that was an April Fool's joke. Apparently it's not. To fill the vacant seat of the late Rep. Don Young, a Republican of Alaska who died March 18th. America is at a tipping point, says Palin. As I've watched, she's exactly right. You could call it a crossroads, a tipping point, whatever. But you visualize what a tipping point it really is. It's either gonna come back, it's gonna tip back. We're gonna be able to pull it back a little bit. To what extent? Who knows? Or if it keeps going, it is gonna go down hard and fast. So she says again, America is at a tipping point. As I've watched the far left destroy the country, I knew I had to step up and join the fight. The people of the great state of Alaska, like others all over the country, are struggling with out-of-control inflation, empty shelves, and gas prices that are among the highest in the world. We need energy security for this country. Remember, we used to have that under Trump? And any Trump haters out there that say, well, he was rude and he was, do you remember energy security? This is for, I know all of you know this. This is for those little people who might be wandering by, and also for you, the people that you might send this to, that you're trying to sway. We need energy and security for this country, and Alaska can help provide that, but only if the federal government gets out of the way and lets the free market do what it does best. That's exactly right. So Trump has endorsed her. She endorsed Trump. So Trump has endorsed her, and he said, wonderful patriot Sarah Palin of Alaska just announced that she is running for Congress, and that means there will be a true American first fighter on the ballot to replace the late and legendary Congressman Don Young. It says in here, even if Palin wins the seat, it's unlikely AOC would debate her. Yeah, I'm sure. The firebrand, speaking of AOC, progressive member of the squad, has refused such offers before, even a 2018 offer of $10,000 from the Daily Wire conservative Ben Shapiro, who AOC accused of harassing her. Saying in a Twitter post at the time, I don't owe a response to unsolicited requests from men with bad intentions. Well, she probably got that from her bartending days. Well, that's good news for us, isn't it? I'll put this up I'll put the link up over on Patreon like I always do for any of you who would like to read it again yourself or send it to people or anything like that. Okay, other interesting things in the news. Elon Musk. what's going on with Elon Musk? Well, Twitter says, we know that Musk bought a whole bunch of Twitter stock, right? And now he owns like 9.2% of Twitter. What occurred to me right after he did that was remembering the situation of Twitter and Trump. Wouldn't it be interesting if Trump bought a bunch? Now that would be something, wouldn't it? I know he has his own. And I have to admit, I'm not signed up on it. What is it? Truth? Is that it? Truth? It's not that I have made a conscious decision not to sign up. It's just I've got so many things going on right now that wasn't at the top of my list, and I don't even remember how to get into my Twitter account. And I keep telling my my technology department here, which is Mrs. Snerdley and our oldest son, they have to get me up to speed on these things, and I'm going to have to start being a little more active and paying attention, and maybe even participating in some of these tweeters or whatever they are. Anyway, I know that Trump has his own platform now. I will get around to getting onto that. Just haven't yet. But what wouldn't that be something? As Musk has bought 9.2%, I believe, is what I said. And I don't remember how much it cost him, several billion, I think. Nothing to him, right? But if Trump bought some, they would control that thing. And be interesting to see. I'll just say what this says. But Twitter says it will not reinstate Trump despite Elon Musk vowing significant change to the woke platform after he is taking a seat on their board. He's their largest shareholder now. And yet Twitter has said, nope, we're not reinstating Trump. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens after Musk takes a seat on the board and looks around that table and smiles and said, we're going to make some positive changes here. Yeah, we'll see. Be interesting to see, won't it? 40% of House Republicans who voted to impeach Trump are getting ready to leave Congress. Fred Upton is the latest. Let's see if this says anything. I doubt that it will say anything that's of any real consequence. Fred Upton, a Republican from Michigan. On Tuesday, announced his exit from Congress, notching up a 40% exit rate among House Republicans who voted to impeach Donald Trump. Well, I think this is probably, Trump's working hard out there. He is going around supporting people. He is building a consensus. He is building on and maintaining his support system. They're trying to downplay it, of course, but, it doesn't take much to see the truth behind it if you just watch some of the rallies and see what's going on. Talk to the people that you know, and you know that those who supported Trump back then still support Trump. Well, and he's building that, and he knows how to do it. That's why he was a leader. I think we're watching what goes around comes around. They see what's going to happen. They see they're going to lose their seats because of their support to impeach Trump. They wanted to be buddies, right? They wanted to be buddies with the other side, and now they're seeing the cost of that. Well, best of luck to them when they go back to whatever they did before, which probably wasn't much. It certainly wasn't making the money they make in here, which takes me down to what is this? I'm going to skip ahead here for just a minute because this fits in. How do these people who go to Congress, half of them not worth much, okay, not worth much as people, let alone in their bank account, how is it that they go to Congress and get rich and come out rich. Well, we know, right? It's all graft and corruption and all that. It's one of those, draining the swamp situations that Trump tried to deal with. And I have my issues with how he went. I don't think he was as hard as he should have been on some. He brought people in who stabbed him in the back. I'm surprised that he wasn't smarter than that. I don't know why he did it. I know there's going to be some people saying he's part of the swamp. He's controlled opposition. You can believe that if you want. I don't. Okay, up to you. But how these people make money off of politics is it's immoral and it's crooked, and we know that. I'm going to jump ahead to a story that I had at the end of the line just because it was the least important, but it kind of fits in here. And it's from the Washington Free Beacon. And it says, Stacey Abrams' net worth is up 3,000% since losing her election. What did she run for? Was it governor or whatever? Governor of Georgia? Yep. Okay, Mrs. Snerdley was listening to me. I was hoping that she was. I always have to be careful what I mutter under my breath just in case Mrs. Snerdley is listening. But I'm glad that she was. So Mrs. Snerdley just told me that Stacey Abrams, who I couldn't care less about, right? I don't give a whit about. That's why I didn't remember that she ran for governor of Georgia. So it says the failed candidate was in debt 3 years ago and is now worth $3 million. Who else do we know that was darn near broke and came out multimillionaires, right? Clinton, does that ring a bell? Clinton. Obama, the community organizer. That pays a lot. Being a community organizer pays a lot, right? Biden. I mean, what does it pay to be a senator? But now guy's rolling in dough because he doesn't know that he's rolling in dough, and that's sad. And I'm sorry about that. But he's a crook. Okay, Democratic Georgia gubernatorial candidate. See, if I just read a little bit farther down there, I would have known that for myself, right? But it was nice to have that input from Mrs. Snerdley. And where did the gubernatorial? I always love that word, don't you? And it's kind of a strange word. So she has cashed in big following her failed 2018 bid for governor. Of course, she keeps whining a lot, and she's the poster girl of how it's unfair and it's racist and it's this and it's that. Abrams' worth, I continue, right? The Washington Free Beacon. And this was from Josh Christensen, by the way. Abrams' net worth is now 3.17. Just my glasses. 3.17 million, according to the AP, about 3,000% more than her net worth of 109,000 when she first ran. Her multimillionaire status comes after years of media appearances, speeches, and books, many of which have focused on alleged threats to the democratic process. She has never conceded her defeat in 2018 race, saying instead the election was stolen through voter suppression. I thought you weren't supposed to say that. You weren't supposed to be able to say that there's anything wrong with the voting process, right? Okay, so there's just another rich loser who made her fortune. It could be him. There's plenty of hims through the political process and the stupidity of the masses. What do we got here? Oh, this was sad. Okay, I'm not going to talk too much about this. I'm putting this, if you haven't seen Joe Biden wandering around trying to get Obama's attention at that little reception there, trying to get people to talk to, trying to find anybody. I'll put it up over on Patreon. You can find it for yourself. I'm not, trying to hook you into going over there. But this is the kind of stuff that I put over there too, amongst other things. It really is sad. And you can either join us over on Patreon, or you can go on YouTube and you can look for it titled "When Nobody Even Knows You're There," and it's going to show. It's very, very sad. Too bad. I didn't like Biden at all when he was still in his right mind, but when this kind of thing happens to a person, I mean, it's still bad. I get it. It's still evil. But I just, my empathy for what he must be going through just kind of overshadows any ability of mine to be that angry. I'm angry with his handlers. Don't get me wrong. The people who are telling him what to do. Oh, here's one for the books. Remember? Oh my gosh. Oh, I couldn't believe it when I read this. And remember when I said it's about culture. The decline of our country it's a cultural decline. Okay, it's been participated in by some and allowed by others, and that's how these things happen. Remember when I said the other day that when KU won the national championship, 70,000 people showed up in Massachusetts Street, Mass Street, we call it around here, to celebrate. I'm sure they were all drunk. They were all, just great. You know what it's like. Only 3 arrests. 3 arrests. No property damage, no rioting, no anything like that. And I said it was about culture, didn't I? Well, let me share with you a little about an alternative culture. Rapper's dead body propped up in nightclub for last show. Now here you have a picture of a guy. I'll put this up if you want to see the picture of this guy. I'm sure we'll get to his name here in a moment, like I care about his name. He's giving you the look in the camera. He's got tattoos on his cheeks, and across his neck, he's got a huge tattoo that says, "Goon." Goon. This is from Breitbart, written by Alana Mastrangelo. And she writes, a 24-year-old slain rapper's dead body was seen propped up in Washington, D.C.'s Bliss nightclub for his, quote, last show. Bliss management apologized for the event, saying they had no idea of what would transpire. Yeah, right. The embalmed body of rapper Gunu. Did I miss the EW on his neck? Let me see. Goo. I just see goo. Goon. That's all I see. You can look for it yourself. Gunu, whatever, whose real name is Markel Morrow, was seen in viral video footage on social media apparently propped up on the stage of Bliss nightclub over the weekend, wearing designer clothing and a crown. A crown. Remember in the old days, you've probably seen pictures of the old West where, there'd be pictures of some dead guys laying in coffins that, they were bank robbers or horse thieves or something like that. The posse caught them and they killed them. They stuck them, either laid them out on the ground or put them in coffins and then took pictures of them, right? And say, hey, here's what happens to horse thieves and bank robbers and stuff like that in our town. Yeah, well, that was back in a very different time, but now apparently they wanted him to be at the last concert, so they stuck his embalmed body up there, propped up in this nightclub with a crown on his head. Well, it appears that a public viewing was held at a local nightclub to celebrate Gunu's life on Sunday. The Shade Room wrote in an Instagram post. Oh, okay, I see. The Shade Room is a Twitter account. Well, that is unique. That is unique. I looked at this. There was a $40 cover fee to enter the venue and observe and view Gunu's embalmed dead body with his crown on his head. Oh my God. I just now saw a picture, a video that I had not seen before. I'm not even going to describe it. I'm going to watch it later, but I'm not even going to describe it. If you want to see it, I'll put it up over on Patreon. Finally, good news for the good guys. Oklahoma, this is from the New York Post, written by Jesse O'Neill. Oklahoma lawmakers vote to ban abortion and imprison doctors. Okay. Oklahoma state lawmakers voted to criminalize abortion Tuesday, approving a measure that would make performing the procedure a felony, punishable by up to 10 years behind bars. The GOP-led House voted overwhelmingly to send, it doesn't say unanimously, but it says overwhelmingly, so I don't know what the vote was, doesn't matter, it passed, to send the bill to Republican Governor Kevin Stitt, who has pledged to sign it. It was passed by the state Senate last year. The measure would make an exception only if an abortion was performed to save the mother, lawmakers said. And if you know anything about this, it's almost impossible to find a situation. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's almost impossible. How do I get this? How do you get this, Steve? From talking to doctors that I know. Okay. OBGYN doctors, special lady doctors, okay, doctors who deliver babies. They said it's almost impossible to find a situation to where an abortion would need to be performed in order to save the mother's life. So that's not really, like I said, I didn't say it was impossible. I said it was almost impossible. So that is an excellent move on their part. Doctors who perform abortions under other circumstances would face a $100,000 fine in addition to a long prison sentence. Patients would not be prosecuted. Okay. The penalties are for the doctor, not for the woman. I'm sure there's a lot to say in that situation. A lot more discussion could be had, but this is not the place for it. I'll just stop it right there. The proposal was the latest aggressive anti-abortion bill introduced by Republican-led state houses since Texas banned abortions last fall, as the U.S. Supreme Court considers overturning Roe versus Wade. So that's that. It is. Or you might wonder, what is your position on this? I'm happy to tell you. I'm not going to beat people up over it, but I will tell you that it's a matter to me of when life starts. And in my opinion, life starts in the mind of God. Simple as that. Killing an innocent human life is murder, in my opinion. So, there I've said it. I don't dance around that kind of stuff because if somebody thinks that I'm a horrible person, I don't care. Anyway, there's other stuff going on today. We'll get to that later, maybe today or tomorrow. But, what Sarah Palin said is exactly right. Our country is at a tipping point, and it's up to us to help decide which way it's going to tip, right? So as we say America needs a reversion or something. A reversion is going to be the most peaceful thing it needs that we can get. If we can get that done, that'd be great. If we can turn things back to the way they should be, if we can win the culture war, if we can convince more people to see the truth of the moral distinction, the cultural distinction, and to come down on the side of right and to stand up for what's right, we might be able to turn things around. If we can't, then the founders talked about an option, one of which I put over on Patreon. And we hope that it doesn't have to come to that. But the reversion that America needs, or whatever it needs you to be a part of it. It needs everybody that we know to be a part of it, and it's incumbent on us. It's our responsibility as good citizens. As citizens of a country that God gave us, that God blessed, and that God is probably very disappointed in, to stand up and try to have an impact on what's going on, an effect on what's going on, to educate others, to help others to understand, and to support those who say they will represent us in the government as this year comes along into a new election cycle, and then to hold their feet to the fire to do what they say they would do. So I'll leave it there for today. You all have a good day. Let me know your thoughts. I'm sure you'll have a lot of thoughts on this. Let me know your thoughts. Share this with the people that you know if you would. We appreciate that. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.